I have always been fascinated by the stories of children who have insanely talented parents who somehow are able to blossom on their own, become their own person, and carve out a place on the planet for themselves, especially in the same business their parents were in. Were your parents supportive of your show business dreams when you were younger?
Well, I would say yes and no. Yes, I evolved to be my own actress. It may have been a little ugly along the way for a period of time. I felt very intimidated by my mother's career. She was supportive of me being an actress, but I wasn't the kind of actress that she was. I didn't, work hard. I didn't go to Lee Strasberg's, to the neighborhood playhouse. I mean, I was kind of like a lucky little kind of, beach kid who really, I didn't have any other talents to fall back on. I hated school. I didn't, go to class, but I had a talent. And so I really was just lucky. And, part of what I wrote about in Jackie Gold, Jackie isn't like me. She's a big superstar, Jackie of the book. Mm-hmm. But one thing we had in common, this character and I, is that for a long time, I just felt like a fraud. I felt like I was going to get found out for not being a serious actress. And it took many years. I was well into my 30s before I began to feel my own identity as an actor and not under the shadow of my mother, who was and still is, the greatest.
You said an interesting thing in my vast research. You said that you would write, to get out some of your teenage angst, you would write poems, and you would write poems about how much you hated your mother or how you didn't like your mom, and your mom didn't care that they were critical of her. They just thought they were beautifully written poems, and so she supported your writing, which is pretty cool. On the other hand, you said when you started to act, your mother could be hard on you about acting because she just did not want to see you get your heart broken.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But, at the time, as a young actress, when I did films I'm not allowed to mention because of the actor strike, at the time, all I really wanted was for her to be my mom. Like say, good job. I'm so glad you got, that's good for you. But she was so critical of me because she was so scared for me of my own, progress as an actor in this business based on her own experiences, that she was very tough and overcritical. And it wasn't until many years later that I had to really train her to just say, good job. You look so cute.
I mean, maybe part of being a mother is you feel like you need to fortify her against the world. And, like in a school play, oh, honey, you were the best one. Because you're not going to go on and leave the house and make a career doing school plays. You can tell your child that, he was the best one. But maybe she felt like, if I don't say these things to her, the world will. And my first job is to protect her.
I think it was partly that. And I think it was mostly her own insecurities about being an actress in Hollywood. She was blacklisted for many years. She had to really prove herself. She famously lied about her age by 10 years. She had Moriarty. She flirted with Moriarty back in the 60s and got him to legally change her age.
What a great story.
A true story?
I mean, she really, she fought very, very hard. And also, as a beautiful, beautiful movie star, she was constantly terrified about aging and what it would mean for her because, unlike actresses in Europe, we don't treat our older actresses very well. And so I think a lot of that got came through in her criticism to me about, how I looked and how I was acting and now she's just, my mom's 98 now. As of next week,
bless
she's
her
98.
heart.
And she's a pussycat. I mean, she is now the most encouraging, supportive.
Does she
darling.
live in California
You know,
still, or live up?
She lives in New York.
Oh.
You know, I walk into a room and she falls down applauding. I mean, you know, I trained her really well. You know,
You did great. Do you feel that she worried that you walking through the world as an actor were a reflection of her?
Maybe, but it's a good question. I'd have to ask her.
Do you feel
really
like she
good
was
question.
competitive with you at all?
Yes, I
That's
do.
interesting.